He's here.
Cyrano?
Cyrano.
Hello and welcome to France 24's film show, where we take a look at new releases hitting the silver screen and streaming platforms as well, which is more and more the case these days. I'm joined by Skype by France 24's Lisa Nesselson. Hello, Lisa. Now, nothing says unrequited love quite like the 1897 French verse play Cyrano de Bergerac, written by Edmond Rostand. Director Joe Wright has brought a musical version to the screen in which Peter Dinklage stars as a would-be suitor. Olivia Salazar-Swinspear has more.
He's the lovelorn hero who taught us that beauty is only skin deep.
Pleasure to meet you, Cyrano de Bergerac.
You're a freak. Freak.
This time it's Peter Dinklage playing the poetic suitor of Roxane in an adaptation of Edmond Rostand's 19th century play Cyrano de Bergerac. And instead of Cyrano's famously long nose, he's looked down upon because of his size, one of the tweaks that director Joe Wright made to the text.
The original Rostand play has many, many long speeches that talk about their feelings or, his nose or so on. And so what we did is we kind of replaced those long speeches with songs, and therefore hopefully making it more accessible to a modern audience.
Wright's cast sang their lyrics live on the set, while the musical numbers were composed and performed by Bryce and Aaron Dessner of The National.
I'd give anything for someone to say.
Yet the central theme remains the same. That is, love and just how to express it.
I do think there is like an infatuation with Roxane, an infatuation with the fantasy and the dream-like element of love and of a relationship. And that's really what those two guys are fighting for in so many ways. More than the actual love for Roxane is the need to be with Roxane. And I think that's just fascinating to me.
As the object of their affection, Roxane could be played as someone manipulated by Cyrano and Christian's scheming to win her heart.
And a tall. I am a poet. My words upon your lips. I will make you romantic. Will you make me handsome?
She lost me!
But for actress Hayley Bennett, it was an opportunity to bring a feminist dimension to her character.
She's a woman who's hungry for change, she's hungry for challenges, and she's anti-establishment. She wants a revolution. She wants to be an author of not only her writing, but her life, and she feels completely defeated. And it was important that we create a distinctive Roxane that a modern audience could recognize.
This lavish recreation of 17th century life was filmed in Sicily during breaks in the COVID lockdown there, with a cast of extras playing many different roles in this smoothly choreographed version of a great romantic tragedy which echoes down the ages.
And Lisa, there have been many film versions of this story since the silent era. Do you have any favourites in particular?
Well, I can recommend a wonderful, rollicking French film from 2019, Edmond, in which Edmond Rostand jumps through hoops trying to write a play about Cyrano de Bergerac in just 3 weeks in order to rescue the theater run by a major ham of an actor. The real-life characters he runs into include Sarah Bernhardt, film innovator Georges Méliès, master of stage farce Georges Feydeau, and real Belle Epoque settings such as the Moulin Rouge with the Can-Can in progress. But as for supremely worthwhile big screen takes on the tale itself, now Cyrano's a versatile thing when Alexandrines really swing. As viewers, it's a lovely time to watch that tight syllabic rhyme. In 1990, Depardieu recited genius through and through. Steve Martin gave a modern spin in his Roxane, and good for him. Each time that love goes unrequited, our Rostand brain cells get excited. A nose too long, things could be worse, like if our lives were lived in verse. Template was set up long ago, so grateful be for Cyrano.
Looks like Cyrano's not the only poet there. Now, let's move on to our next contemporary French film, Petite Nature, or Softie, that's getting rave reviews. And it's about a 10-year-old boy and his friendship with his teacher, which develops into an unrequited crush. Tell us more.
Softie draws on the writer-director's own life and is completely anchored in a specific milieu. Johnny is one of 3 children his mother had with 3 different absent fathers. They're poor. Their mom loves her 2 boys and 1 daughter, but she drinks too much and has an uninteresting job in a tobacco shop on the Franco-German border in northeastern France. Johnny is smart and polite. He looks after his little sister. Following an umpteenth move after another of his mom's failed relationships, Johnny starts classes in a new school. His teacher, Mr. Adamski, senses that Johnny probably has what it takes to escape to something better if he's introduced to art and literature. Nothing pretentious, just things to stimulate the precocious boy's imagination. There are no books at home, and when Johnny needs a letter from his mom, he's the one who has to correct her spelling and grammar. Johnny mistakes Mr. Adamski's attention for something romantic, which couldn't be further from the truth. But at age 10, Johnny's very real longing has been awakened.
And the film was made by writer-director Samuel Thiss. Let's watch a snippet of the film.
T'es sur quelqu'un? Et il le sait? Je crois pas. Faut faire attention aussi. Tu veux pas lui dire?
Tous les ans, t'es obligé d'avoir un élève qui te touche plus que les autres.
Toi, touche encore mon fils, tu vois ce que je te fais. Mon fils, il a changé. Vous lui avez mis des choses dans la tête et maintenant vous l'abandonnez. Tu vas me dire ce qui se passe avec ton prof. J'arrive plus à savoir ce qui est vrai ou pas avec toi.
And Lisa, why is this film getting such good reviews?
The film is so deft in its portrait of a 10-year-old boy who senses there's something richer out there than meals made of canned food and cut-rate cola, but isn't sure how to propel himself into a better life. And at age 10, who is? Factor in that young Johnny is gay, and it's a lot for one boy's confused shoulders. The director shot in the community of Forbach, where he grew up, and he takes pains to show how decent and well-meaning people are limited by their education and how education can change a life. Johnny gets a kind of encouragement he's never known, and we want him to be able to grow into a fine young man, but his sexual feelings, while incredibly real, have no place healthy to go. This film is very assured in that it's never condescending, and Alyosha Reynard, the first-time actor who plays Johnny, is astonishingly good.
Now to a film festival devoted to restored films from all eras. It's on at the French Cinémathèque and 7 other screening spaces in the Paris area. Tell us more about Toute la mémoire du monde.
Well, this event spotlights restored work from all over the world. The president, accomplished actress Carol Bouquet, is someone you might know as a Bond girl in 1981's For Your Eyes Only. Last week, a major article in the New York Times suggested rescuing moviegoing in the U.S. by refamiliarizing American audiences and college students with film classics and film history, suggesting those should be more valued than they currently are.
French audiences are used to the regular availability of old movies, aren't they?
Unquestionably. 40% of France's movie screens program vintage films at least occasionally, in addition to the latest fare. France has never really fallen into the commercial trap of considering an old movie as being somehow less valuable than a brand new one. So audiences are happy to pay the same price for Citizen Kane from 1941 as for The Batman from 2022. You're not paying for an old movie. You're paying for a good movie made a while back. Archives and stores all over the world work hard to bring movies back to their original luster. With over 100 screenings, Toute la Mémoire du Monde is a terrific concentration of that principle. In addition to restored films by early cinema stylist André Antoine and a retrospective of Hungary's Béla Tarr, there are some English-language treats. Warren Beatty's Reds from 1981, in which he plays American journalist John Reed, who reported on the Russian Revolution in his book 10 Days That Shook the World, is an incredibly good movie that won 3 Oscars and that would never, ever get made today. And if you're under age 26, for just €1, you can see restored prints of George Cukor's Gaslight or Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Outstanding films that also gave the English language 2 useful terms.
Yeah, sometimes you can't beat a big screen. Now, out this week all over the world, except in Russia, where Sony chose not to release it due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, is Morbius, based on the Marvel Comics character Morbius, the living vampire.
Well, you'd probably have a harder time making a catchy film about a dead vampire. They tend to crumble. It's messy. The title character, Michael Morbius, played by Jared Leto, is a doctor who cures himself of a rare blood disease. But the lasting side effect is a bad case of transgenic vampirism and some superpowers, of course. Doctors save lives and vampires generally don't. You know, I was thinking young people used to memorize poems or memorize stacks of statistics on baseball cards to hone their memories. Now I guess they stimulate their memories by keeping track of all the characters in Marvel movies. Personally, I give up. But I have always enjoyed Jared Leto.
Well, Lisa Nesselson, thank you so much for doing a little roundup of the releases out here this week. We'll leave you with Morbius. Remember our website, france24.com, for all culture news. And we're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at EncoreF24. There's more news coming up just after this.
Michael Morbius. You've been given a gift. Not exactly. Time to let go of what you used to be. Discover who you're meant to be.
All our lives we've lived with death. Why shouldn't they know what it feels like for a change? Just accept who you are.
The bad guy. Morbius.
Holy water? Really?
Yeah. You ever see Lost Boys?
Story of my life.